She was our club's Citizen of the Year. Michelle Christensen is the founder and executive director of One Good Deed. She and her husband have been in Golden Valley residents for 33 years. Their children attended Meadowbrook School, North Junior High, and Hopkins High School. After they graduated in 2016, the beginnings of One Good Deed began to take shape. By January 2017, their first event, the Scarf Bomb Parks, took place, and some of our own members participated in that. Michelle is here today to tell us more about One Good Deed and how Rotary might be able to help as a service project. So welcome, Michelle.
So I'm not much of a podium speaker, so if I don't speak loud enough, just let me know, but I'm just going to kind of hang out in this area if that's okay. First of all, you can't hear? You can't hear? I've got one right here. It's just I'm so short, you can't see me. Okay. Okay. Yep, I've got it right here. So the first thing I'd like to do is to thank your club for honoring me earlier this year with Citizen of the Year. Very unexpected, very honored, obviously. So thank you very much. I did write a thank you note as well for those that aren't in attendance. If you could just please let them know that I'm very grateful for the recognition. The second thing that I'd like to say before I start is I'll be speaking in the first person about One Good Deed, but it really is a collective of people. So normally I say we because it takes a village to do what we do, but I'm going to be speaking more pointedly and directedly today. So I'm going to go with the I version of my conversation. I feel like everybody in this room kind of knows what One Good Deed is and what we do, what our mission is. But in a nutshell, One Good Deed does one good deed a month of the year. We're going on our 10th year. So we've gone over 100 events this year in total. And honestly, what's behind One Good Deed is just spreading kindness and shining bright light into dim corners in a variety of ways. I've left our calendar on your table just to kind of give you just a snapshot of what we do. And then underneath the calendar is a brief description of the whens, the wheres, the where the kindness goes, whatnot, kind of describes each event. The other item that I left on your table is I kind of put together just a little quick fact sheet about One Good Deed, and then underneath that sheet is the partnerships that One Good Deed has with the city of Golden Valley. Because I live in Golden Valley, I tend to keep our kindness in our community. One Good Deed has been very instrumental through the city of Golden Valley. I'm going to grab one too, even though I put it together. Thank you. A couple of the bigger examples of things that One Good Deed has done with the city of Golden Valley is the biggest thing that we've done is those play pods that are around Lions Park and Brookview. There's 4 little playgrounds that go along that 1 mile asphalt trail that goes around the 2 parks. One Good Deed installed all those. I work in construction, so I was able to gather a bunch of resources. And I went to the city. That's when Rick Berno was the director of Parks and Rec. He and I together scoped out the situation, and we ended up putting 4. There's one over by the small gazebo. There's one right over here on Western. And then there's 2 along Harold Avenue, I think is what it's called. Those little play pods, there's a map on each one. So it can tell a parent they can take the whole route if they're up for a mile walk with their children. If they're not, it shows them where the bathrooms are, the playgrounds. It's an inclusive map of everything between Brookview and Lions Park. And so One Good Deed gathered the volunteers Everything was free for the city. It was a complete gift to the city. Not a dime was exchanged. It was just a gift from us to the city. The other thing that's a bigger piece of what One Good Deed with the city of Golden Valley is down in the community garden. Again, I partnered with Rick. He, I called him and he's like, God, I love talking to you, Michelle. Um, they knew that they were going to put a community garden down at Medley Park. And he kind of explained I had won a grant. I did. I won a grant through H&R Block saying make every block better. And each state received is in the running for the grant. I received Minnesota's state grant from H&R Block. And it didn't come with a price tag. So I kind of worked it a little bit. By the end of the project, we were the National Spotlight Project of the Year. They gave out 5 awards a year. So for the next decade, H&R Block is going to be giving out 5 states prizes. And when I got Minnesota's, that was the year that we received it, and there wasn't a price tag attached to it. So what I did is I called up Rick, told him that I had won a grant and what could we do. He told me about the community garden. I said, what is it that you need? And he said, we would really love to have a shed down there so the people that come to garden have somewhere to put their tools so they don't have to bring their tools back and forth. If you haven't been down there, I highly suggest you go. It's a gorgeous shed. I stocked it, first of all, with brand new tools. And then I also was able to engage 2 art professors from the University of Minnesota, and they came up with an actual like artist statement and everything. It's on the inside of the shed, but there's a mural on 3 sides of the shed. H&R Block wanted green on there for when the photos were taken. The project went viral on their site. So they insisted that there be a green side of it. So I gave them the front of the share shed, but all the rest of it is this amazingly beautiful mural that was painted by these 2 professors. And then the artist statement is on the inside. Anyways, those 2 pieces, those were big things that One Good Deed did with the city of Golden Valley. I think it's Medley Park is what it's called, down on Ensign Avenue, like Medicine Lake, and where the McDonald's is on Medicine Lake and 169. It's right down in that area. You wouldn't know the park unless you lived in that community. And so that was why they kind of wanted to purpose that park differently. They had tennis courts there that just weren't being utilized. So the city came up with the idea of let's put a community garden in there. The fences were up so the deer couldn't get in there. They could lock it. They had lights. And so they had only enough money to buy the raised beds, and they were going to buy wooden beds. And by the time we were done, I bought metal bins for them. I bought a grocer's cart so anybody that had extra food or flowers, they could put it on the outside of the fence so the community could share in that. And now that park is very well attended, both for the community garden, but just that there's other things on the outside of the park. I got new garbage cans, a couple picnic tables. Once H&R Block said you're our project of the year, there was an unwritten check. And they let me go forward. So I was able to spend that money in our community as well. I made sure that the money stayed in our community, which is what H&R Block wanted as well. They're like, spend the money where you are. So it was a win-win-win for everybody. And again, that was free to the city. I partner with my Little Free Libraries. We did a Little Free Library event. We just did it in July, and we just passed 300 Little Free Libraries this year. One Good Deed has been around for 10 years, and we do 30 a year. So I partner with a men's group in Hopkins called Hopkins Men's Shed. And they're just retired gentlemen that want to be in service. Every single week, they meet from 1 to 3 and they find service projects, whether it's memorial crosses for the fire station or hanging shelves at the senior center. They're in service or they're taking a tour. So I've partnered with them, and they make my Little Free Libraries at St. David's. It's a church out in Minnetonka. And I engaged them and asked if they'd be willing to make the share shed. So I ordered a share shed through like Home Depot. They came out, they put it together. I contributed into their nonprofit. Their passion is building beds for foster children. So they took their money and put it right into their organization as well. Again, win, win, win. And their wives were like, for keeping them busy, because it took them several weeks. It took them several weeks, and they toiled. It was hot, and they came up with ways to cover the shed and whatnot. Anyways, at the end of the day, that share shed down there, lots of love and lots of kindness are in it. And I know the people that use that garden every year are very, very grateful for the tools and the space to put their tools every year, because that's a locked, they have locked the tennis court. So only the people that are supposed to be gardening in there have that code. So their tools are safe in there. They're not going to be taken. So there's that. Um, Other things that One Good Deed has partnered with for the city of Golden Valley is we participate in the Pride Festival. I was an original volunteer in 2016, and I've kept One Good Deed through it. Now we're vendors the last 4 years. We've participated in Sustainability Day at the Farmers Market. We celebrated the 50th anniversary at the Historical Society. We were invited to be there. We engaged with the League of Women Voters, Jackie Wells. We're very tight with her. The Federated Women's Club, I was able to go and meet and spend some time with their very lovely group as well. So that was a nice connection. The gardening club, because of the community garden, I also partnered with Robbinsdale Spanish Immersion. They were growing their own garden, the students were, over the summer, and they were going to put ingredients in their garden to make salsa. So I engaged the garden club and said, can you help these kids and tell them how to grow these things and what it looks like? So it became a field trip where RSI came down to the community garden. The garden club met them there, talked about how things grow, how you need to take care of them. And then the kids ended up making salsa at the end of the year and had a party to celebrate. So sometimes One Good Deed just partners. I was saying this earlier. I really look at One Good Deed as, if you have an asset and you want to share it, I'll find a community to put your asset into. If you're a community and you need something, I'll try to find an asset for you. My personal belief of why One Good Deed runs is we just need to help each other. And some people have assets and some people have liabilities. And if we can just find the difference in between, it would make the world a better place. And that's what I try to do with One Good Deed. So as you look over our calendar, there's many partnerships on that calendar that have been established. For the last 10 years, I really haven't changed our calendar too much. It speaks to many people and it fills a lot of cups. Everything is family friendly, every single thing. So now we're starting to really engage with families now that they've kind of found us. I keep our events on Saturdays so families can participate. I also have a regular 9 to 5 job in Hopkins that I've been at for 27 years. So I can do things like this, but I can't run an event other than a Saturday or a Sunday. So all of our events are on Saturdays, except for scarf bombing. That's on a Sunday. But other than that, they're Saturday afternoons, 3 hours of time once a month. Most people, that fills their cup. And I hear that all the time. Like, thank you so much. This is wonderful. It's not too much. It's not too little. I can bring little Johnny with me. And like for the little free libraries, I saw parents like do the step back because their kids were getting along. Like, oh my gosh, I have not seen the kids not fight in however long. And here they are making paint together, the right shade of paint, because they came with an idea creatively. They came with a pattern, they came with a picture. And then they get to take those libraries home and plant them in their communities. And then they get to engage in their communities as well. So again, I'm all about what is the path to kindness and partnering with people that are cut from that same cloth. Because I can work with people that have the same kind of vision that I do. It doesn't have to match exact. As a matter of fact, I kind of hope it doesn't, because that's where you get your best ideas, is when you partner with people and they have a different lens, but you have the same goal. So just to quickly just point out some of the things on your tables. In September, this is something that we've done with your club before, and I'm partnering with Citizens Independent Bank. They have 4 branches. Brad is part of the St. Louis Park Rotary. And when I spoke there, he engaged me. So I've been partnered now with Citizens for 3 years. So they are funding the project where we're going to make 50 of these blankets with teddy bears and ribbons. And we're going to, on Indigenous People Day, so October 12th, they are using it as a service day. So they said, where can we send our blankets? And of course, I have first responders, Hennepin Healthcare, Children's Minnesota. I have a variety, Minnesota. But I said, in lieu of the day, let's bring them down to either Little Earth or the Minnesota American Indian community. So I have called into both of those communities. I'm partnered into both. So one of those two communities on Indigenous Peoples Day will receive 50 blankets for their children in crisis. And whether they use all 50 right away or they tuck these in a back room and use them when it's appropriate, that's up to them. But the gift that Citizens Independent Bank is bringing, both with funding it, but also they're doing it as a team building event. So they have 55 employees that are going to participate between their 4 branches. And they're going to make 50 of these, hand them to me, and then I'm going to bring them down to the community. So this is a September event for us for One Good Deed. When we make these, I have those organizations that I just referenced. Each one gets 50 at a time. So Minnesota, here's 50. Hennepin County First Responders, here's 50. And like they tuck them in their trunks. They put them in the back of an ambulance. I give 50 to Children's Minnesota and Gillette. Ronald McDonald House, they get some as well. So this is our September event coming up. Right now, just yesterday, I dropped off backpacks at Anderson Middle School, which serves the Phillips neighborhood. It's a middle school directly behind Abbott Northwestern. Their poverty rate is 85%. And probably more than that, to be honest with you. But for August, we do an event called Backpacks for Bridging, where One Good Deed people that watch our page, we have a pretty good social media presence. People just watch our page for different things that are going on. They have brought just notebooks and markers and whatnot to me. We take what we have, we put them into backpacks, and then One Good Deed fills the rest. So I had enough for the first round was 25. And then I just bought extra supplies, extra feminine care products, things like that, that the school can just pick out of a box and use it as they need it. 25, I wish there was more, but I'm also partnering with one of my professional contacts where they literally make 125 bags for McKinney-Vento kids. McKinney-Vento is a legislative act that basically says schools are obligated to provide a path to success in school, whether it's a student can, right, well, right, exactly. I'm sorry, I should have been more specific, but yeah, I knew that's what I was talking about. So they have a program, Anoka Hennepin has a program called HOME, and 125 backpacks, but and then we also do 125 personal care bags. So if the children are, if the youth is couch surfing, or if they are very transitional in a home, they're going to go with dryer sheets and washcloths. And these bags, I made lists that were on lined paper. So 31 items on each page, one for the personal care bags and one for the school supplies. I'm partnered with a professional contact and they buy every single item on both lists. Tomorrow they're packing their backpacks. They shut the doors, turn off the phones, shut down the computers. They break up into teams and they pack the backpacks. And then on August 25th, we will all go over. They get a courier and everything gets packed in the back of the truck, and then we drop them off into that program. Last year, I was able to actually meet a student that just happened to come in with his mother. Didn't speak very well, so didn't quite understand what we were doing. But once he understood he could grab a bag, it was game on. And he got to pick the color that he wanted in both. And then when he opened the bag and he showed his mom, she just started crying because they were very new to this country, you could tell, and just didn't have anything. And they were turning in paperwork. They had tried to turn it in the day before. And the woman at the front desk said, you need to come back tomorrow. And that was the day we were there with the backpacks. And we were setting them up in the hallway, just as a photo op. And this child strolls in with his mom. She hands over the paperwork. He gets backpacks. So there they have, they told me they have over 1,400 students that meet the McKinney-Vento definition. So 125 bags doesn't really, it's a drop, but it will help 125 students. And that's good enough for us. It's a wonderful ripple of kindness that this particular company takes on every single year, the last 4 years. They also pay for our scarf bomb buses, which that's another thing that we do. The sample that I brought for that is we have the Plarn mats. I know you guys kind of looked at it a little bit. Those sleeping mats are handmade. And yep, it's how One Good Deed started. Just me as an individual, I found a whole bunch of extra gloves in my closet one year and kind of laughed and snickered at myself that who needs 8 pairs of gloves. Kind of put a message out on my Facebook page. Hey, I've got extra stuff. I'm going to bring it down to the shelter because I am a volunteer person as an individual. So I was working in a shelter already. And I said I would bring it down to a shelter. And the response was so great that I ended up that first year collecting over 100 bags of items and needing a bus to transport people because people wanted to help me with it. I was going to bring what I collected to the shelter, but I knew it was too much. When it started rolling in, I'm like, they don't have room for all this in the shelter. So then I decided at that point that it needed to go out into the park where the people really were, the people that don't use the services. They have addiction or they have mental illness or whatever reason keeps them out of using a shelter. Those are the real people that need it. The people that go in, they have opportunity should they wish to take it. So anyways, once we got on the bus and we went to our first park, people saw what they were doing, they felt it. And then it just went from there. By the time we got back to my house from going, we went to Loring Park and we went to Kellogg Park. Those were our first 2 parks that we went to. Every item that we collected, we put one of these tags on. These are just different color tags, but they say, take me, I'm not lost, I'm yours. We put these out on the items, each item that we put out. I made flyers and I dropped them off at the shelter. And 2 weeks before, and said, please share this with your community. We're coming out on this date at this time, and anything with this tag on it, it's meant for your population, for the people that come in and visit you, or please have them share with the people that are in their community that may not use these services. So we went out, it was amazing. People came up, we helped them shop, kept our bags. Somebody's looking for a black jacket, somebody's looking for a size 14 boot. We were putting everything out. So that transaction of kindness that was one-on-one was amazing. By the time we got back to my house, I had thanked everybody that got off the bus because the only connection was me. Everybody on that bus knew me from my friends on Facebook. But by the time we got back, everybody had made friends with everybody on the bus because of the experience of what they had gone through. And I didn't realize it because I was at the front of the bus trying to help the driver navigate these super tight corners. And I didn't realize what was going on in back of me. So got off the bus, shook hands with everybody, said thank you, thank you, thank you. First couple people said, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, breathe, because that was a lot of work. It was 3 months worth of work. And then One Good Deed wasn't yet. And so everybody got off the bus. I turned around. It was a cold January day. Football was on. And people were still in my front yard. And I said, oh, thank you again, you guys, so much. Feel free to use my restroom, blah, blah, blah. And nobody left. Still, they were all 56 people were standing in my front yard. And I didn't get it. And then somebody said from the back of the crowd, what are you going to do next? And I kind of clicked in. Like I clued in and I saw like they were looking at me like, what are you going to do next? And I said, if I do more things, will you help me? And they said, yes. So One Good Deed was born not intentionally by me. It was the group of people that were on that bus that organically started One Good Deed. And I'll lead kindness all day long. I'll find any way to do it. But it takes the people to do it. I can't do what I do without people stepping up and moving forward, whether it's a lovely group like this, or it's all those employees at Contract Interiors that are going to take their day off and they're going to pack those backpacks for kids that they don't know. It's intentional kindness is what it is. One Good Deed is a doing group. So everything that we do, if you look on that calendar, everything on there is a doing, it's an action. Because I personally think people, if they see their kindness reaching a shore, it's much more instrumental to them and much more inspirational to continue doing it because they can see where it lands. It's not just writing a check, which that's fine too. I often tell people I have a job that pays my mortgage and my car. So everything that's donated into One Good Deed, 100% of it goes right towards what we do. And we're a 501c3. So I will, when I come to conversations like this or into another environment, I'll say, I can absolutely, if at the end of the year you're like, we have $5,000 that needs to go somewhere, that'd be me. And there's a lot of other lovely groups that would take it too, but I'm partnered with those groups that can't check the box of being a 501c3. So when I win grants or I do things, I really try to funnel that into those nonprofits that are boots on the ground and they're doing really, really hard things too that I'm not doing, but they're just not funded. They're not well funded and they rely on others being generous to them. I will partner with them as much as possible. So there's that conversation to be had too. So between the financial part of it and just the helping hands and hearts, that's how One Good Deed presses forward. And I really appreciate your time. I've put some pictures out, and of course I didn't touch on everything, but if anyone has questions, let me know. Yep. I'll touch on this super quickly. I partner with a needleworking group, and as I said before, they do a lot of things for me. But one of the really special things they do for me is I'm the state representative for a group called Knitted Knockers, and they are knitted forms for women that have had mastectomy or men that have had a mastectomy or an operation because of disease, whether it's cancer or whatnot. So there's a national organization, a .org, where a woman who had surgery did not like the appliances that she needed to use. They were sweaty and they were plastic and they were heavy and they just didn't feel natural. And she was a needle worker and she came up with a pattern that you could knit that could be sized. So that being said, I went to my needle workers and said, is this something that you could do? And they said, absolutely. So I gave them the pattern and now they make these for me too. I became the state representative June 24th of 2024. And so far we've sent out over 450 pairs. So any woman that goes to that .org and signs up, these are free, by the way, to the women that need them. It's a .org, so everything is free. It's mailed to them free, everything. Any woman that signs up from the state of Minnesota gets her knockers from me. So I purpose them from my needleworkers group, but I also supply 2 of each size to 6 different clinics on a monthly basis. And I send them just like this, but they offer another option for women that go to radiology clinics or whatever, or into their doctor's offices. And I could probably do more clinics, but I don't want to not have enough for myself because we've done 450 pairs, just me mailing. That's not even the clinics. So this is what they look like when they're unstuffed. There's a hole on the back. You put stuffing in here. So if a woman picked these up and they were just like this, she'd just go to Michael's hobby store and she'd pick up a bag of stuffing like what you'd have in a teddy bear. And she stuffs this full. And the nice thing about these is oftentimes when you have surgery, there's not a regular shape. And so you can take the stuffing and fit this to what shape you need it to be to fit inside your bra. And the other nice thing is you can take the stuffing out and then these just go in the washer because they're made out of yarn. So this is what they look like when they're full. So this would be what a woman would put. They come as pairs. This is what a woman would put into her bra if she was a C cup. This is what it looks like unstuffed, and this is what it looks like stuffed. So that's what these are, and that keeps me busy. That every day I'm sending out probably 3 or 4 pairs, along with a handwritten note of only love and light to you. You know, best of luck on your journey. I do a little handwritten thing and give them some care instructions and let them know that they're seen and that there's people just sending light their way. And I've received heartbreaking notes and just heartwarming notes, just thanking us for giving them part of their life back, or a woman that says, my husband loves me just the way I am, but my daughter's getting married and we're going to have formal pictures taken, and I need to, this is something that I need to have, so thank you so much. They're knit and or crocheted. I happen to have the knit version with me. The crochet is a little bit of a tighter stitch because the yarn is typically different with a crocheter. There's like 8 different kinds of yarn that you can use, but it's special yarn. It's expensive yarn.
So where could we find that pattern?
It's on knittedknockers.org. Yep. So spelled just exactly how you think, knittedknockers.org. And then you can read all about the organization as well. But they have like the the round hoop needle. I mean, they've got all the different ways that you can do it, and tutorials if you want that too. All right, so thank you again for your time this afternoon. I know you guys are done, and I appreciate your time and hope to see you all down the road. Again, I know we're friends in the community, but if you have any ways that you'd like to partner, please reach out. If I can't do it, I'll absolutely say that I can't, but I'm really engaged and would love to stay connected with you guys.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.